Welcome to Extropy on Air, the podcast from Extropy Advisors, where we dive into the world of AI, digital transformation, and the future of business. Each episode will bring you perspective from leaders, innovators, and experts across industries, all focused on helping organizations and, more importantly, people thrive in a changing world. Let's get started. Hi, welcome back to Extropy on Air, where we unpack the innovations and partnerships transforming the office of the CFO. I'm Kevin Zirkle with Extropy Advisors, and today we're going to be diving into one of the most powerful and honestly often overlooked tools in a CFO's digital toolkit, and that is Contract Lifecycle Management. So whether you're dealing with procurement, compliance, risk management, contracts are the connected tissue of the business. And if you're not managing them with precision, you're leaving value and potentially, more importantly, risk on the table. So to explore this, I'm joined again by Ward Karson with Raindrop. Ward, great to have you back with us today.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Excited to dig in today. Yeah, CLM has definitely been a hot topic. It is one of our most, from Raindrop side, impactful modules, especially when paired with RainSign.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, let's set the stage a little bit. What are you guys seeing in the market today when it comes to contract management in general?
When you kicked off, you kind of were suggesting it, and you're totally spot on. Most companies are still stuck in fragmented processes. So contracts live in like email threads, shared drives, file cabinets, or worse, individual desktops, right? Legal and procurement don't speak the same language. One's commercial, one's legal, literally by definition, right? So approvals could take weeks. It gets stuck in the deal prevention team and multi-versions. Risk teams think about risk terms, kind of like auto renewals or uplifts that are routinely missed. We know that, this deal expired and I didn't even know it. It's painful. And even worse, it's also costly.
Yeah, definitely. I hear you. We actually see that too. Clients, they can't track renewals. They can't audit clauses. They're spending hours digging through PDFs when an issue arises. It really is crazy sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So we created Raindrop to help solve, and it does solve that by centralizing, digitizing, and intelligently managing the entire contract lifecycle from their initial request all the way through signature, all the way into the renewal, most importantly.
You mentioned some of that pain of contracts scattered across email threads and desktops. It's astonishing how many billion-dollar companies there are in this world that are still living that way. We worked with a Fortune 500 client just last year that literally couldn't find 200 active vendor contracts during a Q3 audit. They had 5 different versions of a contract for a single vendor stored in different departments. None of them signed.
It's literally mind-blowing, honestly. But look, we see that all the time. And it's not just about storage. It's really about visibility and control. If you can't see it, you can't govern it. And if you can't govern it, you expose the business to financial and compliance risks and likely a lot more.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That risk is real.
Yeah.
But the good news is, so is the opportunity to get it right. So let's kind of dig into Raindrop from a CLM and a RainSign perspective. I know we probably got some listeners that are going to be curious. Could you maybe walk us through the full life cycle in your CLM module and kind of what's included, but maybe isn't, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Raindrop's CLM includes, and we'll talk about the AI. We'll talk about different but I want to focus on, you'll hear about the value here. So contract intake is the standard intake with metadata tagging. And then we have this whole Gen AI, generative artificial intelligence, Gen AI authoring. So AI can draft contracts for you based on your contract clause library with legal approved templates, but also based on suggestions or concerns you bring up as you draft an agreement. Collaboration, single and or multi-party, simultaneously in-app redlining and internal, external commenting with complete version control, these are really critical kind of values. AI-powered risk assessment, which is real-time risk analysis using the AI to identify contract risk, complete with suggested solutions to resolve the respective risk. Approval routing, so automated rules-based workflow. And then, of course, we talked about RainSign just for a second. Maybe we'll get further into that. But RainSign, which is our integrated e-signature platform. And then the thing that really is kind of the end that people want to know about. So doing the deal is one thing, but actually having the obligation tracking. So the AI extracted terms, expiration alerts, compliance dashboards, knowing where your obligations are going and how you're performing against them. So we even have a single-click NDA one-click NDA creation. So using AI to generate quick agreements that mean your legal department resources don't have to get involved in every standard agreement. And frankly, like NDAs, kind of high volume, low value.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned RainSign. That is built into the platform, right? You don't need a third-party e-signature tool.
Right. So that's actually a key differentiator. So RainSign gives you this seamless audit-ready e-signature with legally binding digital certs. So it's fast, secure, and it's fully native, but it really takes, so someone could have from a request from the business asking for a service or a good, which requires a contract, all the way through the contract creation through our Gen AI automated contracts, all the way through the redlining in the app itself, all the way through routing, through workflows for digital signature into RainSign, and do everything from top to bottom in your complete contracts requirement all in one system.
No, very, very nice. You mentioned really the clause library and some of the template authoring. We do see a lot of clients struggle with really inconsistency across departments. So sales might use one MSA, procurement
Yeah.
uses another. What does Raindrop do to kind of help enforce standardization across the organization?
You could lock down clause types. You could associate them with different use cases or regions, or you could even set fallback language for negotiable terms. And the version control is airtight. You always know which templates being used and who modified what. So your version control is tight.
That's huge. I mean, especially when legal teams are as lean as they are in a lot of companies these days, and they just can't approve every contract manually. That becomes a little onerous for sure. You'd mentioned AI earlier. I'd be remiss if we didn't dig a little deeper into AI. Give me an example of kind of what's under the hood here, and really what moves the needle as far as these modules are concerned.
So we use AI to do a lot of things like extract terms, flag risk language, provide recommended clauses based on context, summarizing contract obligations all up in the document itself. We're not talking black box AI. It's really transparent and trainable. That's a key word, trainable by legal or procurement. And all those changes are tracked so you know when something was suggested and why.
Yeah, and that's actually huge. I mean, we see so many platforms claim to use AI, but it's not really usable by the business. And if it's not, it just doesn't help.
Yeah, I mean, so we've added AI driven search, right? So a user could ask, show me all my contracts expiring in the next 60, 90, 30, whatever days with indemnification clauses over $1 million and get real answers.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned the AI is trainable. I mean, that really is a game changer as well. I know, we talked about some of that black box AI and have seen platforms that they're just hard to trust. I mean, Raindrop's approach sounds a little bit more hands-on from my perspective.
Yeah, so it's a great point. It really is. So legal and procurement, just to name two, can flag terms, they could accept or override suggestions. And over time, the model gets smarter based on those user preferences. It's like having a junior analyst learning on the job, except it's consistent, it's scalable, and it never forgets. And if they want to turn it off, they can, right? But they're going to need to catch up with technology at some point in time.
Yeah, for sure. And it does really make it practical. Anytime we also hear from legal and they hear the term AI, a lot of times their first questions to us will be, can we really control what it does?
Yeah.
So that's a
Yeah.
scary thing to give up control from a legal perspective. So let's kind of bring this up to the CFO level a little bit more. Why should CFOs care about contract lifecycle management beyond just legal paperwork?
So that's a great question. Look, first, contracts define obligations. It's actually the largest obligation creator in any company, contract. So it's all about your commitments, right? That's revenue, it's risk, it's cost. With good CLM, you reduce that leakage. You catch renewal hikes. You ensure you're not paying for things you didn't agree to, things like that.
Yeah, and I'm sure audits, A activity. I mean, a good CLM system's got to be worth their weight in gold to any CFO going through any of those issues, I would imagine.
No, exactly. I mean, let's not forget the contract data feeds into spend forecasts, supplier performance, compliance metrics. I mean, it's absolutely foundational.
Yeah, for sure. Tell us a little bit about somebody that uses it. Give me an example of a Raindrop client utilizing CLM, maybe alongside some of the other systems they might use internally today.
I can immediately think of one client that uses CLM to manage all contracts from initial onboarding of the supplier to managing the contract and the commitments, as well as the renewal and the offboarding. So supplier intake is managed through Raindrop to onboard all the new suppliers as part of the contract management process. So where all new requests for these commitments are handled in Raindrop. However, the customer's ERP system, Oracle in this specific instance, by the way, handles the supplier master, the orders, and the payments. So information is seamlessly integrated and shared between both organizations. So when with Raindrop, I guess I would say, they improved their contract efficiency process by like 75%. And also they got 90% of their spend now under management handled in Raindrop. It's become their source of truth for the commitments across the organization.
Yeah, that's really important. And I think that's the type of impact CFOs want to see. They just want fewer surprises, tighter controls, faster results. And again, any of those that are in M&A discussions, let's kind of talk about that for a minute. I mean, we've supported a few due diligence efforts where CLM, or quite frankly, the lack of it, really became a deal breaker in some of these.
So, I mean, this is absolutely a real concern. In an M&A scenario, you need to know, what are the obligations you're taking on in this acquisition? What's your exposure? What rights can you assign? Maybe another way to look at it is, in other words, like, what am I buying? Like, what risks am I taking on? And you need to know it like now, not after a 6-week contract review process.
Absolutely. I think that the contract visibility really is foundational to enterprise value. I mean, it's one of the first questions that get asked in due diligence. And if you don't have the answers, it can really, really reduce valuation.
Exactly. No, so our clients use Raindrop to surface that intelligence instantly. So by entity, by geography, by term, by termination rights, by risk exposure, that's real and immediate boardroom value. It's literally with only a single click or two.
Yeah, without a doubt. I know here at Extropy, we help clients implement tools like this while also redesigning workflows, training teams, enforcing compliance activity. What's Raindrop's role in helping clients adopt CLM successfully?
So, the concept of KISS, right? Keep it simple. So we make it simple. The UI is modern. Workflows are easy to configure, all no code. Our implementation teams partner with firms like Extropy, to be honest with you, to make that transition seamless, which is what you guys are in the business of doing. And you guys do an amazing job. So it's really the change management, and that change management is a shared effort.
Yeah, without a doubt, couldn't agree with that more. I mean, that's really why our clients succeed. I mean, it's because they get both the strategy and the execution. We have found one of the biggest adoption hurdles really is internal skepticism for any of these projects. So people assume CLM tools are hard to use, or they're just buying a legal project. We often come in to really reframe that mindset for our clients. I mean, this is a business enabler. It's not just a control mechanism.
Yeah, totally agree. And that's why having partners like Extropy involved makes such a real world difference. You're not just rolling out software. You're redesigning workflows, you're retraining teams, you're reframing value for stakeholders.
Super. Now, I think this has been a great deep dive into Raindrop CLM and RainSign programs. So, Ward, I do appreciate the insight. Anything you wanna close with before we wrap up this episode?
Just this. So if you're using email and shared drives to manage contracts, it's time to upgrade. Like, CLM isn't just for legal, it's really for the entire business.
Yeah, and I think actually one final point. I'd say if you're listening to this and you're thinking that we're just too small for CLM, think again, right? I mean, some of the fastest growing clients started with 50 contracts.
Yeah.
But the visibility they gained helped them scale faster, reduce leakage, pass audits with flying colors. I mean, that stuff's all important.
Yeah, so exactly. Let's be fair. If you are one of those small companies, let's make an obvious statement. CLM is not just for big companies. It's for smart companies. And when you bake it in your operations early, you're building resilience in from day one.
Yeah, resilience from day. I like that a lot. It's very well said. I would say if you've ever wasted time digging for a contract, chasing a signature down, worrying about what you don't know, hopefully this episode was really good for you. So I'd encourage you all to join us next time. We're going to shift the focus a little bit over to supplier management, where we're going to explore how Raindrop helps you go beyond compliance and allows you to build smarter, more resilient supplier ecosystems. For today, thanks for listening. And as always, if you enjoy the series, be sure to give it a like, give it a follow, share it with a friend. So for now, this is Extropy on Air. I'm Kevin Zirkle. I want to thank you all for listening, and always know that we're always here to help you transform forward. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to Extropy on Air. We hope you found today's conversation insightful and inspiring. Be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode, and connect with us at Extropy Advisors to continue the conversation on AI and digital transformation. Until next time, I'm Kevin Zirkle, and this has been Extropy On Air.